Hey, this is Angela with this week's Living the Shift. One of the hottest topics that's going on right now in my own life, as well as my clients and many around me, is the topic about relationships and how they've changed as we are changing. And they are changing. The key is that we're shifting so fast. And as we're shifting, we're releasing boxes as we go and releasing the boxes of expectations and learning to do that. And sometimes we try to hold on because we get a little nervous about the rate of change. And so then we sort of get stuck trying to hold on here and I'm trying to let go here. The key of what's going on is, you know what? We've been we've been actively shifting in this really accelerated pace. It started, I don't know, at least a year, probably even more than that, several years ago. But it's really super accelerated since the 1st of 2013. And even beforehand, we did that huge shifting in December. And now we're on into this new age and this new world and all this kind of stuff is forming around us. And so we're just creating as we go, which is amazing. But the key in creating as we go is releasing as we go too. And in doing that, one of the key core things that we are needing to look at is our relationships. And it's all kinds of relationships. It's spousal, it's friends, it's lovers, it's parent and child and family relationships and all that kind of stuff. Because all of that, all the expectations around that have been expectations created by the ego. Part of the lessons in this 3D reality, we're coming to this level of completion soon. And the question that I get from many is, well, what about this? I'm so worried about this person. I'm so worried about my spouse. I'm so worried about this. And, I want them to come along and da-da-da. And I'm always like, whoa, stop. We will all get there. And you know what? It goes on with me too, and I don't even realize it. You get so excited and moving forward and everything else. You want everybody to come with you. It's like, come on, come play. But the key is everybody's going to get there. And what's even more key is everyone's going to get there at their own pace. That was part of the lesson. That was part of our goal in this existence, to my understanding, is the reason that we created this perception of individuality was so that we could split our universe and this existence up into a bazillion different versions of the lessons that we wanted to learn. And then even within each individual I am, how many we want to have, all the different lessons in the journey that we wanted to have to get back to full circle, to be able to get on to the next game, as I call it. It's a lot of stuff. And we're getting really close to the end game. We are in the end game of this particular existence, to my understanding. And so things are accelerating, and it's sort of like when you go to the fair, or the carnival, the state fair, or whatever, where you have those water balloon things or the ball things where you have like the horse races and you're trying to get there first, and so you get this spurt and then you're stuck and you can't get in again, and you get a spurt again. That's sort of where many of us are on this whole spiritual awakening thing. And it's where all of us are in the spiritual awakening thing. And so what's happened in this acceleration is that we're even accelerating faster and taking bigger leaps at a time. So for some of us are going, I'm going to hang around here. I'm going to check out the scenery. And then, I'm going to leap, at 11th hour. That's their choice. The thing is that we have all these expectations around relationships that we haven't released yet. And so what's going on is there's shifts. As we're shifting, the ego still wants to hold on to this old paradigm of what relationships are to be about. What those particular definitions are, the husband-wife or the husband, whatever, the spousal. I don't even want to say husband-wife. But, the spousal relationship, the lover relationship, the friends relationship, the children's and parents relationship. And so we are saying, okay, not only do we need to let go of the boxes, we need to let go of all these agreements to saying, okay, these relationships have to be defined this way. And so again, I go back to this, part of us is holding on, is releasing and flying the magic carpet ride, and part of us gets stuck with these boxes that the ego still tries to hold on to. And so that causes a lot of friction in our relationships, because one in the two, the relationship, whether, like I said, friends or spouses or whatever, goes forward, and the other one sort of stays or is slower. And many times you start saying, well, come on, hurry up, catch up. Or the other one says, oh, will you stop? Will you stop already and slow down because I can't keep up with you? The thing is, the perception is you have to be at the same level at all times. But the key is now to re-examine the relationship and say, number one, does it honor us to continue together, to continue on together? Does it honor us to shift and shift the relationship? Am I honoring myself above all others? Now, this is a big one when it comes to relationships, because so many times we start sacrificing ourselves. There's so many issues that are going on. There's a lot of friction in a lot of relationships, many that I'm working with, many that I know, who have this friction within their relationships. Parent-child, big one. Spousal, big one, where one is sacrificing or has the perception of sacrificing themselves for the good of others because they feel like their ego feels like that's the way for me to prove how much I love this person. But the key is to honor anyone. You first need to honor yourself. And I know we've been taught, many belief systems teach that sacrifice is the key to enlightenment, all that kind of stuff. Actually, in reality, if we continue to sacrifice and give somebody else something over our own happiness, over our own love for ourselves, and what happens is eventually we get depleted and the well runs dry. And I've talked about this many, many times. The key is to say, okay, I am doing this, and I'm doing this on your behalf, and I am not honoring what I want to do, what my heart wants to do, or what's going to make me happy. And the key is to shift our perception to say, it's not wrong and it's not bad for me to say, I love myself and I want to do what I want to do. And many times what we don't realize is when we sacrifice, what we think is sacrificing ourselves for others. First of all, it's like the martyrdom syndrome, which is another ego thing that we have in place to release, another set of agreements to release. But what happens is many times we don't allow the other person, when we sacrifice ourselves for somebody else who we love, we don't allow the other person to actually learn the lessons they came here to learn. And we're trying to shield them from those lessons that we or the ego perceives as bad or negative or challenging. And many times we actually feed, when we're sacrificing ourselves for others and trying to shield them, what happens is we actually feed the severity of the lesson because we try so hard to shield our loved ones from those lessons that the higher self says, no, we came here to learn this lesson. We've got to push it through. And so then it has to be like a etheric 2x4 upside the head. And so then it can be what is perceived as far more painful, far more extreme, because of all that effort at shielding and holding up all these, these things and keeping, the other person what we consider safe. Wow, that's so tiring just to talk about. But we do it. We do it again and again. And that's because that's what we've been taught. And that's what we've decided to agree upon as part of what we think proves love. So it's time to shift that. It's time to realize that if I step back and I support this person in love, support this person in the best of who I am, but allow them to allow them to experience, then I can have the best of both worlds. And if they refuse to do that, or if they refuse to want that or whatever, then maybe it doesn't serve me in the highest and best way. We have to get the ego out of it. We have to be thankful for all that we've had, be thankful for all of the experiences we have, no matter how negative the ego has perceived them to be, and then release them, release the boxes of what those relationships were supposed to be in the past. Oh, I have to be connected to this person because they're my mother, my father, my sister, my brother, my whatever, blank. Or I've known them forever, and well, so here's the thing, we're changing at this breakneck speed. Our relationships are changing too. So it's time to sit back and say, okay, whoa, if we're just noticing a lot of tension and you've come to an impasse in a relationship because you're saying, well, I think you should be doing this. And the other person says, well, no, I think you should be doing this, or I should be doing this, or stop, trying to boss me and all this kind of stuff. Or there's other, what we call passive aggressive tendencies that'll happen too. That can exacerbate a situation until it will break. because it doesn't serve both parties anymore. And that's going to happen faster and faster as we move along. It's happening fast, very quickly right now. And so the key is to be able to recognize it before it breaks in a very stressful, kind of friction-oriented manner, and to step back and say, okay, stop, whoa, we need to reconfigure this. And moving forward, let's release this box and say, okay, I still would love to continue on this journey with you, but we're at these different places and we need to honor both of us in doing so. And let's look at how we can do that. And it's time for us to open up that communication. I see this a lot with parent-child relationships, especially adult parent-child relationships. And sometimes the parent feels like they need to sacrifice themselves for the child, and sometimes they feel like the child feels like they need to sacrifice themselves for the parent. Those are agreements. Time to release those. Again, old boxes. Does not prove that we love them. No. Like I said, it goes back to this whole stepping back in support and allowing them to have their experience, and yet still being able to contribute to love and happiness and whatever, and possibly helping their journey be as graceful and easy as possible, if that's their choice, if that's what they choose. So, for example, many times we have a parent who has an agreement with their child that they're a guardian. I had that too with my own mother. That took me like a year to release. I kept on releasing it, and it was like energetically not good. There was all this friction in the relationship because at some level, even though I didn't tell her about it at this level, it was a lot of bucking, right? And you have this a lot of with adult children and parents, because there's this level of the parent going, oh my gosh, you're doing this, and oh my gosh, you can get hurt, and there's all this kind of stuff, and then they don't realize how they react. This happens very, very, very commonly. So the key is to release that, to allow them to say, look, I love you, and I am thankful for all you have, no matter how negative or friction oriented your previous relationship was, because many times when they have that guardian relationship, the guardian relationship can be very friction oriented because it's a huge catalyst for change many times. I'm going to help you get to those lessons, and I'm going to do it in some big monstrous ways to make sure you get there. So in releasing that, many times there's this fight by one or both of the parties going, oh, but, and it becomes like this, like almost a codependency of back and forth, or just this push-pull that keeps on going. So it can go on and on like this. The key, again, is to go back and look at the relationships with fresh eyes and to say, how can we honor each other and love each other and support each other and move forward on our own paths at our own paces at the same time? That's what it's time to do. And it's only then that friction, or the friction in those relationships will subside, is when we do that. Because like I said, if it doesn't serve us anymore, it doesn't serve us anymore to do that sacrificial thing. It does not serve us anymore to do that martyrdom thing. What serves us is to come back to our divinity, to come back to the love that we have for ourselves and that we can share with each other when we realize the level of love that we have. Because then the well is never empty, and we have an abundance of love, we have abundance in our lives, and much more happiness and joy. So the first step, stepping back, looking at the relationships, especially the ones that you're seeing friction or feeling friction, and when I'm saying feeling friction is when you're interacting with the person that you feel like a tightening in the chest. Many times that really is a real easy physical indicator. So step back and look and say, okay, or there's some friction within yourself, all kind of stuff. Where can I release this? Why am I holding on to this if it doesn't serve me anymore? If it doesn't serve all parties anymore? And then ask or try to work out together how to move forward in a different manner and shifting into a new paradigm and seeing how to help each other on the way without sacrificing where you are or where they are. And on that, I'm going to let you go. This is Angela with this week's Living the Shift.